coming up a little bit later today, just after 4 o'clock. Joining us now, it's been a little while. We always seem to catch up with him in this time of year. C.L. Brown joining us now with the Courier Journal in Louisville, Kentucky. And he joins us now on the Right Toyota guest line here on Fox Sports 910. C.L. Rocco Minuch, what's going on, man? How you been?
Hey, I've been well. I feel like, this is the best time for us to catch up every year. Exciting times for this tournament.
Well, we're hoping that, the Pac-12 is kind of dissolving and, Arizona and Arizona State will be traveling a little bit more out your way, so there'll be more opportunities to catch up. But your thoughts on that one first, with Clemson, a team that you know quite well, being in the Carolinas in the past. Did you have them in your bracket, or did you feel that they were going to take the Cats down?
I actually did have them advancing to the Sweet 16, but I had Arizona beating them. But I'm not surprised that they won. I bet them to I took the points on that game. I felt like they would make it a competitive game and be close in it. So, Brad Brownell has put together a good roster. I thought the addition of Joe Girard from Syracuse was a key for them as well. The main thing was P.J. Hall actually returning to school for Clemson. So, they've got inside, outside, and they have some players like Jack Clark, who transferred from NC State after transferring from LaSalle. They got some good parts that kind of make them difficult to guard. And Arizona it felt like they peaked early and were never quite the same team to me from earlier in the year.
Seems as though they get, when you watch Clemson too, CL, they get a lot of production out of their bench, not a lot of points, but just good, productive, very effective bench. But it only runs 8 guys out there. That was surprising.
Well, I think this time of year is when you have to kind of constrict your bench and keep it to the guys, that you trust, and are experienced enough in a situation like this in the Sweet 16 to not make plays like, I'm assuming we're going to talk a little bit about the Carolina game, like Jalen Withers made late in that game, taking an ill-advised three-pointer when Carolina was up 1, and, Alabama went on from there to win. I think it's a lot of it is about who you trust to play in these postseason one game and you're done situations.
For Arizona, CL, we're kind of scratching our heads here. Second Sweet 16 exit in 3 seasons. We know Tommy Lloyd is a good coach and he's had some success, but I know Arizona fans are kind of in a tailspin because they thought this was the year that this team could advance at least to the Final Four. You think this team's okay? They've had a lot of changes there, the money issues and things of that sort, but from what you know about the program, you think they'll be all right?
Oh, I think they'll be fine. The thing about Tommy Lloyd is it feels like every coach, until they have that breakthrough moment, kind of goes through a period like this. Literally, you can talk about the Dean Smith of the world, who it took, if Jordan doesn't hit that shot, if Fred Brown doesn't have the turnover, then people are still talking about he can't win the big one, until 93. Coach K was the same thing. Bunch of Final Fours. Was it 5 Final Fours before he ever won one? It just takes a while to break through. And you look at Tony Bennett at Virginia now. They were the first one to lose to a 16. Nobody thought, I don't want to say it was as dramatic as nobody thought he'd bounce back from that. But, that was a major loss, and they rebound to win the next year. So the breakthrough moment is coming for Tommy Lloyd and Arizona. You don't kind of compile these kind of records and get the talent that he's been able to get and end up failing. Every year it's a single elimination tournament, man. It's hard to crack through, but eventually I feel like he's going to do it.
And so you talked about that Bama win over North Carolina, a little undisciplined there by North Carolina at the end. I think you alluded to that, but to see Bama, who got on a roll there in that second half, to come up, catch them and win that game by 2. How would you describe the play in North Carolina overall last night, especially the last 3 minutes of the game? North Carolina.
Uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
From what we saw mostly throughout the season, I think, RJ Davis, you're going to have an off game. what was crazy though is RJ and Caleb both 0 for 9 from 3-point range. Caleb Love, former teammates, and I don't know. I thought when Arizona lost the game, my thought before Carolina and Alabama tipped off was, I wonder if Carolina is going to somehow, sometimes when you're expecting to play a team and they get upset, then it feels like sometimes teams may loosen up a little bit and take their next opponent lightly. Like, oh, well, now we got an easier road to the Final Four because we can beat Clemson. I kind of wondered if that might have seeped into their thought process. But I thought that Hubert Davis probably didn't handle the second half well, because I thought Paxton Wojcik should not have been playing as many minutes as he played. I mean, this was a guy who he played a lot early to start the season. But when they really got good after they lost to Kentucky and UConn, Paxton Wojcik was not in the lineup, and I know he put him out there because he thought that he would keep the spacing. He would force Alabama to respect him in the 3-point shot, which at the close of the first half it did, but he would have been much better off, I thought, leaving Seth Trimble out there or leaving Elliot Cadeau, the guys who played all season, even though they're not great 3-point shooters, and Alabama was sagging off. I feel like they would have made a play. You're talking about it ended up being a 2-point game. I think within the course of the minutes that Paxton Wojcik got, those guys would have made a play that could have flipped the game in Carolina's favor.
CL, can the Wolfpack continue its miracle run?
Oh, wow. It feels a lot like 1983 with these guys.
3.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But, I don't know that I thought they were going to win 5 games in 5 days at the ACC tournament to get to where they are. The thing about it is they believe. Like, they're a confident bunch. They believe, and I love DJ Burns, man. I think whenever there's a big man in college basketball like that, it just feels like people gravitate to him. He's got a great personality, and he's kind of leading that team on the court right now.
All right, let's look at the Duke-Houston game. 1 versus number 4. Houston, they dodged a missile, I guess you could say. Duke, steady as she goes. Can the Dukies get it done against that supposed number 1 seed?
Yeah, I mean, they could, but I kind of wonder. This feels a lot to me like the Tennessee game last year in the tournament for Duke, where they came up against a team that's physical and is going to really challenge them on defense.
2.
Will challenge Duke's offense, and Houston has the kind of athletes, and they play kind of that physical style defensively where I think it's going to give Duke trouble. And I think, I hate to use the word soft. I don't throw that around lightly, but I'm not even going to call Duke soft. What I'm going to say is that I feel like they don't have those dogs, in their lineup. That's just like with the attitude, like if you come at me, I'm coming right back at you. Like I don't feel like they have that kind of toughness on this team that is going to match what Houston is going to bring. Now, I could be wrong, and, we could see Jared McClain hit another, 7 3-pointers in a game, and they end up winning. But I think this is going to be trouble for Duke. I think Houston, they did dodge a bullet in that second round win over Texas A&M, but I think they're going to finish Duke off tonight.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the white elephant in the room there in Kentucky, KU. Is the only reason why Calipari staying is because of the buyouts too expensive? Is that the only reason why?
I mean, that's a huge part of it. I do think at the very least it kept them from making a hasty decision, but it's unacceptable what they've done in the postseason. They haven't advanced out of the first weekend since 2019. They've got 2 of their worst losses in tournament history and their program history in the tournament, losing to St. Peter's in 22 and then this year losing in the first round to Oakland. And so, I never thought that with the way Calipari started there, his first 6 to 9 years when he set the world on fire, and they were Final Fours, it seemed like every year. And winning the 2012 championship. I never thought we'd get to this point where they're ready to run them out of town. I had someone today. I knew of a UK couple who were supporters of Kentucky basketball that actually inquired about getting season tickets to the University of Louisville after they just named Pat Kelsey head coach because they're sick of Calipari.
Wow.
And that's like serious business here in Kentucky for that to happen.
Yeah,
so,
if you're losing boosters, that's not good.
Yeah, he's on the clock though. Next season, I mean, the buyout comes down a little bit more, and they'll find the money if there's another early exit next year. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that.
CL, enjoy the weekend, man. Thanks for the time as always. Hopefully we'll catch up with you when we get closer to the Final Four.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, he's a good follow. Check him out, CL Brown Hoops on Twitter X. Appreciate CL joining us here on Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B out here at Wright Toy.